So NBA 2k13 was released 2 years after what is believed by most to be the best basketball game of all time, NBA 2k11. So NBA 2k11 had a lot of great things, and in 2k12 ended up putting in more historic teams. They ended up having more ways to play it. There was an entire game mode of playing things in 2k12 like Bill Russell games in black and white, playing through different eras of basketball. However, 2K had to go the next step. They had to find out ways to make this game a little bit better. And in 2K13, one of the things that they decided to do, as well as introducing virtual currency, VC, instead of just skill points, which at the time was not the biggest deal because no one really spent money on the game and you didn't have to, they also introduced the MyTEAM game mode. To say the game modes were bare bones is an understatement. We had exhibition games where you literally could just play against just like random CPU teams, and our only online game mode was actually Road to the Playoffs. I did not mind Road to the Playoffs, but it was something that I remember even like 16-year-old me back then completed Road to the Playoffs in about a month, and then there was nothing really to do. You were in seed number 1, you'd already gotten your free Michael Jordan, and it was what it was. One good thing about the Road to the Playoffs was when you got into seed number 3, you got Larry Bird. When you got to seed number 2, you got Magic Johnson. Then seed number 1, you got Michael Jordan, who's probably the best player in the game. So the better you were at the game, you literally got the 3 best cards in the game for Road to the Playoffs. So that was something that was very interesting. And while I do like the Road to the Playoffs format, especially because a lot of people are looking for it for next year, 2K21 and beyond, I really think that it's something that we are more nostalgic about than anything, but I do think a Divisions type format without any rewards past Division 1, like this Road to the Playoffs, really does not work. But at the end of the day, it was the start of what we got now. So the market was kind of crazy. Players were priced based on how they played in real life, which led to some like hilarious things in this game. Like, Al Horford for quite a while was the most expensive player in the game, whereas you could get like 95 overall players for cheaper than certain bronzes. Like, Steve Nash was 87 overall, and I think, was it Reggie Evans was more expensive than him, who was a 68 overall? It was just the weirdest thing ever. Like, most of the best players in the world. LeBron nearly won a unanimous MVP, and he wasn't the most expensive player. So it was all based on their trends and how they were playing. So for example, if LeBron James had a few bad games by LeBron James' standard, he'd drop down a little bit. And I don't understand how exactly they did it, because for the whole year, nearly Al Horford, who I'm not even sure was an All-Star in 2013, was the most expensive player. And I know Steph Curry wasn't an All-Star, and he was like the second most expensive player. And also for Legends, they were only 500 coins. This led to, again, a lot of things like Gerald Green just being a god in game and being really cheap. So a lot of people kind of went out with very, very similar teams because of this. It was like okay concept, but I just don't think it was executed properly, and it's definitely not something they could run in the future with how big this game mode has gotten. But for the very first game, when they didn't really know what MyTEAM was about, it was kind of a cool concept to look back on. And you could actually make a whole bunch of VC at the time if you just bought players when they were playing badly and sold them when they were playing well. Then for teams used. So, funnily enough, signature skills, which are like badges, you had to pay 100 VC per signature skill, basically per player. Like, the only real 51 silver one that anyone was using was Acrobat. Acrobat just was broken. Eurostep 3-pointers, they were a thing. Not many people did it, but if you knew how to do them, you just win every game. So, the weirdest thing is with the value of these players was that all historic players were all 500 coins. So, a lot of people, they wanted historic players when they were opening packs, but certain people would be opening packs to build up their VC value, and it was a weird one because the better players they were, in terms of historic value and stuff, they just completely were destroyed. And I remember what I used to end up doing was, if I accidentally put on a bad signature skill on a player, because I didn't want to pay the salary of the player, I would end up just selling the historic player and just hoping for the best, because you couldn't remove signature skills. So there was times you were kind of screwed if you put on too many bad signature skills. As well as that, because of the salary concept, you were seeing so many bronzes. Because it's one thing I really wish 2K did nowadays, like, even if they want to put in contracts into the game, make bronzes free. Like, do not put contracts on bronze cards. so people can use bronze cards if they want to, or even gold or below, no contracts. Something like that would be very, very helpful, because that's what basically people used to do in this game. So I remember for my one, because again, I didn't spend money in this game, I was 16 years old. I used to run with 4 golds and bronze Kyle Korver as my starting 5. And then off the bench, I would run like Kobe Bryant, who was like my 1 gold. And then I would have Gerald Green, JaVale McGee, all the like ultra cheese, like low rated cards. And there was a whole bunch of them. Or if you guys played this game, Orlando Johnson, JaVale McGee, Gerald Green. These guys were some of the best cards in the game. For some reason, some like 65 overall players were unbelievable. And there was like Harrison Barnes, who was like a 79 overall bronze. And there was like 77 overall golds. It made no sense, but the weird thing was that there was a huge amount of variety in team building, unless you were playing against just one of those players that kind of knew the meta and ran with a whole bunch of current players, LeBron, Kobe, Kevin Durant, D Rose, Dwight Howard, every single game. That happened, but not that often. Gameplay was a bit of a weird one, because looking back on it, I didn't really enjoy it at the time. Dunks were unblockable. Once you triggered a dunk animation, you dunked it every time. Also, contests didn't exist. You could literally just pull up in people's face, and it didn't make a difference if you timed your 3-point shot right. Contests did not exist, because especially when you put the Deadeye badge on, contests did not exist. As well as that, the Gerald Green card was just broken. He was literally better than LeBron James. So basically, if you could shoot threes and dunk in this game, you were the best card in the game. That's why Gerald Green was so good. You didn't need to do anything else. Handles didn't matter, rebounding didn't matter, because post moves weren't even tied up to the way post game was. Literally, shoot threes, dunk, that was it. As well as that, people could abuse Euro step acrobat threes, but again, thankfully not that many people knew about the cheese back then. So in terms of like monetization or pay to win, one interesting thing was that they only had like a couple of boxes. I think there was like a bronze, a silver, and a gold box as far as I know, as well as like a season startup pack, which had a guaranteed player. These gold packs gave you the best chance at like the best players. However, at the same time, you weren't guaranteed even a player in every single pack. So you could open 10 packs in a row and not get a single player, which would often happen if you opened the gold booster packs. But then there was the purple packs, which were the boxes, and season kickoffs, that's what they're called. When you opened these, you were guaranteed a player. However, even though Shake pulled Hakeem right here, these packs had terrible, terrible odds. So a lot of the time you were going out and you were losing your VC by opening packs. However, one thing that was kind of cool with these was that a lot of those 3,000 packs, you could go on a run of like 5-6 packs in a row where you're actually getting players that cost more than the packs actually go for, which again is a really interesting thing because you could actually make a lot of VC. I remember I had like 300,000 VC and I bought 100 of those packs and I sold every single player I got back. And in the end, I'm pretty sure I came out with about 10 legends and like 220,000 MT. So I was like, it wasn't even that big of a deal. And everyone kind of went for the legends because you couldn't get any other, there was no auction house. So you basically had, this was the only way you could get legends. And funnily enough, this was a scenario where it had the potential to be the most pay to win because of salary. However, it didn't seem to be. You could go out with all your gold god tier players with all your signature skills, and you would have a little bit of an advantage. And you kind of wouldn't need to pay unless you were doing the VC glitch for hours every single day. That's basically everyone got their VC by a VC glitch this game. But this is a game that had the potential to be the most pay to win because of the fact that salary was tied directly into VC, which ties directly into money. However, it didn't seem to be the case, mainly because the likes of those silver cards were just so good and they were so low salary. So it had the potential to be the most pay to win, but in my opinion, it definitely wasn't anywhere close to being the most pay to win of all of the MyTEAM games. In terms of creators, there is the guy we've been showing so much of his footage. There is Shake, the godfather of MyTEAM. Whereas there was a lot of non-MyTEAM creators. There's a reason why we all have so much respect for Shake. He was the first big MyTEAM creator. Sub the Gamer was also another person who pushed MyTEAM, as well as Two Bros in 2k13. Then, of course, there was the godfather of 2K in general, Chris Smoove. The fact that Chris Smoove started playing MyTEAM 2k13, it picked up the game mode so much. Like, I know myself and a lot of my friends, the big reason why we played this game mode, well, for me, is because I played a lot of Ultimate Team and FIFA. I know a lot of people really did get into this mode through smoove. While, again, it wasn't his main series in 2k13, the fact he played myteam was huge, huge for that game mode. Another big creator at the time was YMD Gento, who, again, basically became like another smoove type of my career, but he played a lot of myteam 2k13. And then, not really known for 2k13, he really came into his own 2k14. Cash Nasty was kind of one of the initial founders of myteam content. In terms of like gameplay wise, he was the best at the game by a significant amount, and Cash got his start in 2k13. So overall, I feel looking back on it, there was not a lot to do, but at the same time, it was the first time 2K put the mode into the game. It's clear that even though there was microtransactions, that the game wasn't necessarily built around the concept of spending your money on the game. They initially put salary into the game, and it was very evident in this game that salary was put in as a way to make people not use the high tier cards to kind of bring balance into the game. And at the end of the day, I did tend to enjoy this game a lot. I really did enjoy 2K13, but I think it might be a lot of nostalgia goggles again. It has a lot of bad things. If we got this type of experience in 2020, we'd be very, very annoyed. Even the non-pay-to-win players, non-pay-to-pay players would be very, very annoyed if we got this type of experience. So anyway, yeah, that is the video. Over the next 8 days, I will be doing one of these for every myteam. Anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
I think you only love me cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's robbing. Tyson with the fade, not the hair, my hands rocking. When I link with ball point, you know it's not.